Hey there, everybody, and welcome. Today I'm going to be presenting a solo playthrough of Everdell. And in the course of the playthrough, for those of you who are not familiar with how the game plays, be it solo or multiplayer, I'll explain what's going on and basically how the game works. That shouldn't be very complicated at all. As you can see, I am not going to be using my pieces today, my game pieces, so there is not going to be a tree. I can warn you about that right now. If you're familiar with the game, you know there's a big tree that's sort of the centerpiece. It's more of a kind of a gimmick than it's not a functional part of the game. So I did not program the tree, but I did pretty much program everything else. So today, as I said, solo playthrough. If you're not familiar with the game, Everdell is a worker placement and a tableau building game. It's played over 4 seasons. So you start in the winter season, and then you play through spring and summer and autumn. And the truth is that one player might be in one season while another player is in another. So all play is not necessarily synchronous in that sense. Of course, when you're playing solo, it is. You are playing against a computer AI player, if you will, called Rugwort. He is quite challenging. As I said, part of this game is worker placement. In the winter season, you start with 2 workers. So the game starts off pretty slow. In spring, you can have as many as 3 workers, summer 4, and finally, in the final season, you'll have 6 workers to work with. So the game escalates really well as you move and progress from season to season. Well, let me start off here, and so, because as I'm talking, it'll sort of make more sense as to what I'm referring to. So it's going to be a solo game. Now, there are 3 levels you can play: easy, medium, and difficult. I don't claim to be an expert at Everdell, and especially when I'm doing videos of this sort, I don't necessarily play especially well, so I don't anticipate winning. I'll say that right up front. So we'll play at the easy level, and there's an expansion. There are actually 2 expansions. There's the legendary expansion and the extra expansion, which just adds more cards to the game. The legendary expansion adds a little bit of a twist. Actually, I am going to play with that today, just so you can see how it works. And there is a border variant that I'll talk more about that was created by BGG user the Sapient, or the Sapient? I think it's the Sapient, Sap. And it's an excellent variant that he put together. When you're playing 2-player, it helps cycle the cards better. In a 3 or 4-player game, it's not really a big deal in terms of cycling what's called the meta, or the common display of cards. In a 2-player game, it could be a little bit more difficult to do that. If you're playing 2-player, this is a very simple variant to add, and it's excellent, and it should have been part of the rules. So I'm going to play with that today as well. So let me and I'm going to be green. Rugwort's going to be black. And let me get things going here, and then I'll, as we go, I'll explain what's happening. So, as I said, there's worker placement. I have 2 workers to start here in winter. Tableau building is the big part of the game, and you're basically building a city, and you have 15 slots that you can work with. Now, actually, when you're playing with the legendary expansion, as I am today, you could potentially increase this to 16 or even 17 city slots. But you start off with 15, and generally it's recommended that you arrange your city as 3 rows of 5 slots each, which is what you see here. The main board is on this side, and you have a hand of cards that you're dealt. So this is my hand at the bottom. And I am the starting player. The starting player gets dealt a hand of 5 cards. So my 5 cards are actually these 5 here. And since I'm playing with the legendary expansion, or the legendary rules, I got an additional 2 legendary cards here. I will explain how these work a little bit later once I get them into play, but while they're displayed with the rest of my hand, these cards are actually not part of my hand. When you're playing Everdell, there is a hard and fast hand limit of 8 cards, but these 2 don't count toward that limit. As a starting player, I got dealt a hand of 5 cards. If you're playing multiplayer, the second player would start with a hand of 6, the third player with a hand of 7, and so forth. When you're playing cards to your city, you can play from your hand or from the common pool. Everybody shares this common pool of cards that are in the middle, called the meadow. Everything else surrounding this area are worker placement spots. There's a set of 8 basic worker placement spots that I show here across the top. Some of these only allow a single worker, like these darker brown spaces, are what are called exclusive. If you place a worker there, no other workers can get placed there until that worker leaves. The lighter brown basic actions are shared spaces, so any number of players can play to those spaces. I could potentially place multiple workers on any of these lighter brown spaces as well. There are forest worker placement spaces. These are variable, so these basic action spaces are always part of the game. But these cards that are dealt, 3 in a 2-player game, 4 actually in a 3 or 4-player game, these are a little bit better worker placement actions than the basic spaces. So I'll explain those once I get to them. There's 4 resources. There are twigs, there's resin, there are pebbles, which is a little more rare, and there are berries. I can collect some victory points over the course of the game, but most of the points are scored by far during endgame scoring. Primarily, you score points via the cards you play over here into your city. You can also score points in this game via events. So let me bring up the events here and actually lock them up on the board so they won't go away. There are 4 basic events. All the cards in Everdell are broken up into 5 different types, 5 different colors. There are tan colored cards, which basically have an ability that performs once. There are green colored cards called production cards, which may be the most important cards in the game. These provide you generally resources or some way to get resources, and these will activate when you play the card, but they'll also activate at the beginning of the spring and the autumn seasons. Not in the beginning of summer, but in spring and autumn. So they'll activate multiple times, and potentially they'll activate even more than those 3 times. There are red destination cards. These are cards that have worker placement spots on them. You'll see those. There are blue governance cards, which basically trigger when other cards are played, or they may offer some other interesting or special kind of ability. These basic events or achievements can be earned as soon as you collect 3 blue cards, 3 red cards in your city, 4 green cards, 4 production cards, or 3 tan cards, and you have to meet the requirement, and then you have to place the worker there to claim the achievement and be able to score the 3 points at the end of the game. In addition to those 4 basic events, there are 4 special events. These are all randomized from a hand of 16 different possible special cards, special events, I should say. So these are the 4 that came out here. And when you're playing solo, these are extra important because Rugwort is going to score points, is going to score in the easy level, is going to score 3 points for every one of these special events that I don't achieve. Not only are you not scoring the points for achieving the event, but Rugwort is also scoring when you don't achieve an event as well. So it's doubly painful. So as you're going to see, I'm going to make an extra effort to see what I can do about collecting some of these. And in fact, Right now, I'm going to make a note as to what I'm going to need in order to collect some of or achieve some of these special events. I may achieve some of the basic events too over the course of the game, but these are going to be more important. Now, in order to achieve flying doctor service, you can see that I have to have a doctor card and a postal pigeon in my city. So I'm going to make a note over here in the notes section. Because the events on my program don't display all the time, I can easily forget what's going on, what I'm going to need. So I'm just going to make a note here that for the first event, I need doctor and postal pigeon. For the second event, I'm going to need a cemetery and a shepherd. Cemetery and a shepherd. Sorry, my spelling's not great. Shepherd. The third achievement. Okay, in the third achievement, I actually need 2 of each of those 5 types of cards in my city. That's going to be pretty hard to achieve, but I'm just going to make a mental note about that. You can see it's worth a total of 9 points just if you can do that. And then lastly, this event requires woodcarver and chapel. So woodcarver and chapel. And I guess I'll also say 2 of each color type of card. Okay. All right, so so these events are not going to always be in front of me, but hopefully this note is going to remind me that those are the kinds of cards that I'm going to be looking for. And if I kind of glance at the board, so I have a doctor card in my hand. That's good to note. And in there's a postal pigeon in the meadow, and there's a shepherd in the meadow as well. So I'm going to see what I can do about grabbing some of those as quickly as possible. Every time you play a card, Rugwort is going to play one of these meadow cards at random, one of these 8 meadow cards. And Rugwort's always going to just simply score 2 points for every one of the cards he plays. Actually, for some of the cards he plays, the 5th color, which I didn't even mention, the prosperity color, purple, which are not part of the basic events, but purple cards are endgame scoring cards. And if Rugwort happens to draw a prosperity card from the meadow when he draws his card, those are worth 3 points to him. He ignores all the special abilities on the cards. He only cares that when he draws a card randomly, he gets 2 points or possibly 3 if it's a purple card. I start with 2 workers and no resources whatsoever. So right away, I am going to use my workers to get some resources, because in order to play cards, you need resources. In addition to all the cards being broken up by color, there are 2 different types of cards. There are critters, basically these animals that live in the forest of Everdell, and there are also what are called construction cards. For example, crane is not a critter, obviously, it's a construction. What a carnival is a construction card. They can also be broken down by common cards and unique cards. So there are common critters, unique critters, common construction, unique construction. The difference being that I can have any number of common cards in my city, but I can only have one of any unique card. So a unique card doesn't mean there's only one of them in the deck, but it does mean that I can only build it once into my city. So for example, Carnival is a unique construction, while Husband is a common critter. As you can see on the display under the title there on the card, it says in small print that it's a common critter. So I can have multiple husbands in my city, and because they're common, and they're critter type cards, they're not construction. You might also notice that construction cards get paid for the first 3 basic types of resources. So let's see if are there any here. Okay, well, if you look at McGregor's Market, which happens to be a a legendary card, but you can see the cost of it in the top left corner of the card is 2 twigs, 2 resin, and 1 pebble. So all the construction cards are going to be some combination of those resources in order to build them into your city. On the other hand, all of the critters require just berries. So, for example, Wanderer requires 2 berries. Queen requires 5 berries. The Judge requires 3 berries. But when you're playing a critter, you can also play it for free if you have its corresponding construction. Every critter has a corresponding construction card. So, for example, the Judge's corresponding construction card is the courthouse. So if I build the courthouse into my city first, then later, if I want to build the Judge or add the Judge to my city, I can do so for free. I don't have to pay the cost of 3 berries. So that's an important aspect of playing critters to your city as well. You want to try to get as many of those played for free as possible. As you can see, to start with, there are not a lot of construction cards out here, so I am probably going to be requiring some berries just to get my game underway. These basic action spaces are basic. You can expect that the forest action spaces are better. So, for example, this one provides 3 berries, if I could play to it. Unfortunately, in the first round of play in the winter season, Rugwort blocks this first forest card, whatever it may be. So right now I can't put a worker here for 3 berries, nor can I place a worker in the 3 twig spot because Rugwort has blocked that spot as well. Rugwort, as I remember, is black, so anytime you see black squares, that's Rugwort intruding on my game. So what else do I have here? Copy any basic action on the board, not a forest card, and draw 1 card in addition. So it allows you to make a basic action a little bit better by allowing you to draw a card. And then finally over here, what do I have? 2 of any type of resource. Well, that's where I'm going to start. I'm going to put my first worker on this card. Remember, I'm green, so I've placed a worker there. Now this other worker action space, there's a little 4 next to it, as you can see. That only opens up when you're playing a 4-player game. So I have basically now, I can no longer use this card, at least as long as my worker remains there. So I can choose 2 resources of any of the 4 types. Remember, I need berries to play some of these critters, so I'm going to just take 2 berries to start with. I would have liked to have gone here to get 3. Unfortunately, that spot is blocked. So I'm going to start with 2 berries just from getting this card. That's my first play of the game. Now, Rugwort has not done anything. Rugwort doesn't do anything when I simply place a worker. So nothing's happened on as far as he's concerned. So now I'm into my second turn, and let's play a card here so you can see how these cards play. I'm going to start with the Innkeeper. The Innkeeper is really inexpensive. It only requires 1 berry. It is a unique critter, so I can only have 1 Innkeeper in my city at a time. I could potentially play multiple Innkeepers as long as the first one goes away, and then I can play a second one. And you can see that its special ability is when playing a critter, you may discard the Innkeeper from your city to decrease the cost of the critter you're playing by 3 berries. So basically, this is going to allow me to play potentially a 2 or a 3 berry card for the cost of only 1 berry, the cost of the Innkeeper itself. So I'm going to choose to play the Innkeeper. I have to pick a slot to put it in. I'm just going to put it in the first slot. So it costs me 1 berry, and because I played a card, Rugwort has played a card as well. You might have seen this flash over here. He played the second card from the meadow. Basically, there's an 8-sided die in the game. So when you're playing solo, for anytime you have to draw a card for Rugwort, you just roll that, and he draws either the first, second, third, or the 6th, 7th, 8th card from the meadow, and then that card immediately gets replaced. So if I switch over quickly to Rugwort's board, you can see that his cards, we don't need to organize necessarily the same way I organize my city. It's only important that I know how many of each different type he plays. Because remember, every one of these first 4 types of cards earn him 2 points. So he drew the monk from the meadow when he played a card at random. He's going to get 3 points for every purple card he plays. So so far his score is 2 points. So let's go back to my board here. I think I am going to play the postal pigeon. The special ability is pretty nice. I can get a card worth as many as 3 points for free. I'm going to get it into my city for only 1 berry, the cost that I paid for the innkeeper. So I'm going to play the postal pigeon, mostly because it's a card that I want to get out here for the special event. So I'll replace the innkeeper with the postal pigeon. You could see there was another flash here. Rugwort took another card. Now the postal pigeon presents me with 2 cards from the deck. I may play one of them worth up to 3 points for free. So what did I get? Well, I got a castle worth 4, so I can't play that. And I got a fool worth -2, which is normally played into an opponent's city. But if I play this into Rugwart's city, he's going to score 2 points from it. So basically, my postal pigeon was totally unlucky. I can't play either of these 2 cards. So both of them are going to get discarded, and I simply have to cancel. So I immediately blew my first play through no fault of my own by playing the postal pigeon, and I got 2 cards, neither of which I could play for free into my city. So that kind of stunk. Not a great way to start. Now, because I did play the postal pigeon, remember I played it from this slot here, it got replaced by another card, the Gazette, but in addition, an extra card got played over here off to the side, and this is the border card. So this card is an extra card. You could think of it as like an extra card belonging to the meadow that I can also play at any time. Rugwort will never play this card, and it's going to be a pile of cards. So every time I play a card from the meadow, another card will be dealt on top of the pile. So I can only have access to the top of this pile, and right now there's a ranger there. What do I want to do right now? Now, I only have 1 berry to my name because I spent the berry on the innkeeper. I think I am going to place my other worker. I can place it here, so I can copy any basic action on the board and draw 1 card. So I might as well do that. And do I just want to get more berries, or what else could I? Well, there's a crane in the meadow. Okay, so a crane is sort of like an innkeeper for construction cards. You can see when playing a construction card, you may discard the crane from your city to play the construction card for 3 fewer resources of any type. And in order to get the crane out, I'm going to need a pebble. So I think I'm going, for this forest card, I'm going to choose to get a pebble and a card. So I'm going to get a card because of the forest card. So I'm going to choose the pebble, and I get a twig barge dealt to me. Okay, so now I have a pebble and a berry, and I think I'll play the crane. Now this postal pigeon, you can organize your city any way you like. I generally like to put my production cards up here on top. It is important to get as many of those into your city as early as possible because they will produce multiple times over the course of the game. Anyway, I'm going to get it out of the top row. I'm just going to move it over here instead. I'm going to reserve my top row for my production cards. So I have a pebble. So now I'm going to play the crane. Now, the crane is a governance card. It's blue, as you can see by the color of its title, and also the little icon to the left of it. This is going to cost me that 1 pebble that I just got. I'm going to put it up here because I'm planning to replace it with, hopefully, my twig barge, which is a green production card. So I'm going to put it up there. Okay. And now I am going to play the twig barge as promised. So the twig barge is a common construction. When played, and every time I activate my production cards, I'm going to get 2 twigs. So I'm going to play that and replace the crane. So I'm basically getting my twig barge, which would normally have cost me 1 twig and 1 pebble to build. I'm getting it built only for the 1 pebble cost of the crane. So I'm going to play the twig barge on top of the crane. The crane's going to get discarded. And as you can see, I do keep track of what's in the deck as well as how many cards are in the discard pile. So my innkeeper is in the discard pile, the crane's in the discard pile, and I guess the other 2 cards, what was that, the castle and the fool are also in the discard pile. So now I have 2 twigs and a berry. I got two twigs thanks to that twig barge. But I don't know that there's anything else I can build. These legendary cards are costly, so I can't even think about playing these yet. Although it's worth noting that the Foresight card can be played for free if I have played an historian into my city. Now there is an historian over here in the meadow, so if I can get my hands on that before Rugwort does, that'll allow me to play Foresight for free into my city, and Foresight would normally cost me 4 berries. So that's something I want to be able to do. Otherwise, I have a Wanderer, which costs 2 berries, a Queen, which costs 5, a Judge costs 3, a Doctor costs 4. Clearly can't afford any of those. Can't afford the Historian. It's 2 berries. I'm not going to be able to afford any of these cards. Certainly none of the constructions are going to be at a cost of only 2 twigs. So basically my winter season is done. I have no more workers. The winter season usually plays very quickly. You're lucky if you can get a couple cards played, couple resources. At this point, the only thing I can do, normally on your turn, you either play a worker or you play a card to your city. But the third thing you can do is prepare for the new season. So that's what I'm going to do. I am going to prepare for spring. When I prepare for spring, remember, I'm going to get another worker, so I'm going to have 3 workers. All my other workers are going to come back to me, and I'm going to get a 3rd worker. All my production cards are going to activate, so I'm going to get another 2 twigs from the twig barge. And when I prepare for spring, Rugwort is also going to prepare for spring as well. So he always prepares for the new season the same time I do. Okay, so let's prepare for spring. I now have 3 workers. My twig barge gets activated, so I get another 2 twigs. And now it's the spring season, and it is my turn again. Let's take a look at Rugwort real quickly. You can see that he's collected 4 cards so far. He's got 2 production cards. He's got a Gazette, a blue card, and a tan Wanderer card as well. He will automatically achieve basic events at the end when he's preparing for a season, if he possibly can. So as soon as he's collected, for example, 3 blue cards or 3 red cards or 3 tan cards or 4 green cards, he's going to be able to go after these events as soon as he prepares for the new season. So I have to be thinking about trying to beat him to those as well, if possible. I guess I'm going to try to collect some more resources here. Now you can see that Rugwort, before he had blocked the 3 berries card, now he's blocked this forest card. Before he blocked this basic action space, now he's blocked the 2 resin space. And he's also blocked the first of the 8 meadow cards. So I cannot play whatever card shows up in this space, although he can if he happens to roll a 1. When it's his turn, he can play that card. I'm prevented from playing whatever's in that space. So what do I want to get here for first? Well, what do I want to build? I've got these 4 critters. I've got these legendary cards. Foresight, I'd like to wait until I can play the Historian. Oh, a storehouse is great. I'd like to play the storehouse. It costs me 1 twig, a resin, and a stone. I have plenty of twigs. I think I'm going to play a worker over here again to get 2 of any resource. And I'm going to grab a resin and a pebble so I can play the storehouse on my next turn. which is right now. Fortunately, when I collect resources, nothing happens on Rugwart's side, so there was no risk of him stealing the storehouse from under me. So I'm going to go ahead and play the storehouse. It is a production card, so I'm going to put it over here next to my twig barge. It's going to cost me 1 twig, 1 resin, and 1 pebble. And it activates. Now, the storehouse says when it activates when you play it. It activates anytime you activate production, and it also activates in a different way when I place a worker on it. Right now, when it's activating, I could either place 3 twigs on it, 2 resin, 1 pebble, or 2 berries on the storehouse, and later when I play a worker to the card, I can collect whatever resources have collected on the card. So I'm going to want to try to keep this storehouse around, collecting resources over the course of the game as long as possible, so that when I do cash everything in, I'm going to get as many resources from it as possible. Right now, do I want to put 3 twigs on it, 2 resin, 1 pebble, or 2 berries? I think I'll start by, I don't know, I'll just put 2 resin on it. I think I'm going to get plenty of twigs because I have this twig barge, so I'm not immediately concerned about having twigs stored on the storehouse. So right now you can see that my storehouse contains 2 resin. Now what? I've got 2 workers remaining. I think I will collect some berries, so I'll go over here and collect 3 berries. I think I want to go for this historian so I can get my foresight out. And I will put it over here next to my postal pigeon. That cost me, what did it cost me? It cost me 2 berries. So I'm down to 2 berries in my supply. Now I'm going to play the foresight, which replaces the historian in my city. So I have, if I want to get it for free, I have no choice but to remove the historian and replace it with the foresight. I'm not sure all of this is particularly effective against Rugwort because I'm playing 2 cards. He's probably already going to get at least 4 points from these cards. So I'm not sure I'm benefiting myself. I kind of think that not only do you want to play those special events, but you want to play as few cards into your city as possible. But for demonstration purposes in this game today, I'm going to probably be playing as many cards as I possibly can, just so you can see how different cards interplay, how much interplay there is between the cards, and what sort of interesting effects there are. So anyway, let's play Foresight for free. It replaces the Historian. And now I've got that into my city. And Foresight is a triggering card. It says I automatically draw 2 cards every time I play a critter. Or if I play a construction into my city, I can gain 1 of any resource. So getting that out early is great because now anytime I play a card in my city, I'm going to be getting something from it. I'm either going to be getting two new cards, or I'm going to be getting 1 of any type of resource if I happen to be playing a construction. All right, I've got 1 worker remaining. Now I can't go back here to get another 3 berries. I'm basically locked out from all of these forest cards. So all I can possibly do is I can go to one of these basic action spaces. And again, I think I want more berries, so I'm just going to go for the 1 berry and 1 card action space. So I drew a cemetery, and now my berries are back up to 3. What are we going to do here? Oh, there's a chip sweep. I like the chip sweep because it allows me to activate a production card in my city at another time. So, as I said, not only can I activate a production when I play it and at the beginning of spring and at the beginning of autumn, but potentially when I play a chip sweep, as you can see, I can activate it an extra time. And I would love to activate my storehouse again. So this chip sweep is going to cost me 3 berries. But I want the chip suite pretty badly here. So probably this is not a good idea, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I'm going to play the chip suite. It's a production card, so it will activate now and again in the future. And now it's a special ability that allows me to activate another production, a different production card. So I can activate either the twig barge or the storehouse. I'm going to activate the storehouse another time. And again, I can put 3 twigs, 2 resin, a pebble, or 2 berries into the storehouse. I think I'll go for a pebble this time. Now my display only shows you what I last put in, but if I hover over this little square, it does remind me that I have 2 resin and 1 pebble on my storehouse. So I do have multiple resources accumulating there. Again, I want to sort of take a look over here at what's happening at Rugwort. So he is close to possibly getting an achievement here, an event here, and an event over here. He needs 4 green production cards. And how many do I have? I have 3, so I'm a little ahead of him. If I can get another production out, I could possibly steal that achievement from him. I call them, they're called events in the game, but I kind of think of them more like achievements. So I may be using that term interchangeably as we go. I don't have any workers remaining. I only have three twigs left because I just blew all my berries on the chip suite. Is my spring season done already? I don't think there's anything I can buy for 3 twigs. These are all critters. The ruins is free, and the ruins replaces another construction. But I don't want to replace it. It allows me to discard a construction from my city and gain the resources equal to that construction's cost. So I could potentially destroy my twig barge and get a twig and a pebble out of it. But that's not worth it to me. None of these other cards I can afford. Evertree is a very expensive card. No chance of affording that. The castle's pretty expensive as well. And it costs 2 twigs and a resin. There are 2 inns out here. So there's nothing else I can do with only 3 twigs to my name. Oh, and I should point out, by the way, that when I played Foresight, remember Foresight's a legendary card, that opened up a 16th slot down here. So if I can get my other legendary card played, my McGregor's Market, I'll open up a 17th slot. So that allows me to play more cards into my city, which may not be a good idea, again, because I'm playing solo, and every time I play a card, Rugwort plays, but the hell with Rugwort. Let's prepare for summer, because there's nothing else I can do in spring. So that went by pretty quickly. Now, my production cards don't activate at the beginning of the summer, but I am allowed to draw 2 meadow cards into my hand. Unfortunately, I already have 7 cards in my hand, and remember I said there's a hard and fast limit of 8 cards. You can never have more than 8 cards in your hand. So I've kind of screwed myself out of the benefit of summer. I'm only going to get half its benefit. I'm going to be able to only draw 1 card from the meadow instead of 2. What do I want here? I think I want the Minor Mole. The Minor Mole allows me to copy the action of a production card in my opponent's city. So I can potentially activate one of Rugwort's green production cards. So I'm going to grab the Minor Mole. This is free. It's a benefit of progressing into the summer season. So you can think of, in one way, you can think that I'm halfway through the game, but because summer is going to play longer than spring and winter, and autumn is going to play longer than any of those 3, I'm not really halfway through the game. So I'm going to grab the Minor Mole, but now my hand is full, so I can't draw a second card, and now I'm ready to proceed normally with my summer season. All right. What's next? 4 workers. I guess I'll go for those 3 berries. I usually do that if I can. And then you can see now Rugwort has blocked this action space. He's blocked this action space, so I can't get a pebble, and I can't get 2 of any resource, so there's no way I can get pebbles right now. And he's now blocked not only the first meadow card, he's blocked the second one as well. By the end of the game, he will have blocked all 4 of these top meadow cards. So I'm not going to be able to right now play anything that happens to come up in these first 2 spaces. But as I pointed out, he can. I guess let me grab this forest action space so I can copy any basic action on the board and draw 1 card. Now, does that allow me to get a pebble? I don't think so. I'm going to assume that because Rugwort has blocked that action space, it's not available to me. And I think that's the way my program works as well. It doesn't allow me to choose that. I think that's how at least that's how I interpret the rules. Maybe somebody might correct me on that if I'm mistaken. So I'm going to go over here, and what do I want to do? I just think I want more berries, so I'll just get a berry and a card again. Oh, actually, burying a card, I have 8 cards, so I don't get a card. So that space is no different to me than this space. So, though it did draw a card and probably got discarded. No, actually, my discard pile's still a 4, so this was totally ignored. Okay, so really no difference there. I think maybe I'll get my doctor out so I can get that that first special event. Remember that special event required the doctor and the postal pigeon. The doctor costs 4 berries. It's free if there's a university in my city. I have not seen a university show up at all yet. So I probably shouldn't play this early because there's a chance I could get it for free later. But what the heck, I'll just blow all my berries again and play the doctor. The doctor's going to pay me, I may pay up to 3 berries to gain 1 point each per berry. Unfortunately, after paying for the doctor, I'm not going to have any berries left. So this is probably not smart, but let me show you how special events work. So I'm going to go ahead and play the doctor into my city. He's a production card, so I'm going to put him up here next to my chip sweep. Rugwort has added an inn to his city. Now, I got special notice of that because the inn is a special type of card. Let's go to it. Actually, there were several of these that he's played. These I do show up in his city. I actually list them down here as well. So there's the inn and Skirble Stadium twice. But I played them out here because they are action spaces that I can place a worker into. Now, normally I can't place a worker into these action spaces, but because they have an open sign on them, you can see how the action space, let me make note of that, I can put a worker on this card and use it and get its action. So if I go to Skirble Stadium, I can name a non-green card color, draw 4 cards. If any of them happen to match, I get 3 points. So that's basically luck of the draw. But every time I put a worker on one of his action cards, one of his city cards, he gets a point as well. So I have to think twice before doing that. The inn says I can, if I place a worker there, I can play a critter or construction from the meadow for 3 fewer resources. So that is worth noting. Though if I do play there, I will be giving Rugwort an extra point. There happens to be an inn in the meadow also, so I could grab that in if I wanted to. I also got noticed here that I now meet the requirements of Harvest Festival and Flying Doctor Service. So I meet Flying Doctor Service because I built the doctor and the postal pigeon, so I can take those off of my note here because I've now met those requirements. And because I have 4 green production cards in my city, I have met the requirements of Harvest Festival. So I could use my remaining 2 workers and grab these right away before Rugwort has a chance to get them. Now, Rugwort will never grab a special event, but remember, he scores special events if I don't achieve them. Again, it probably would make sense if I waited till later, but I'm not. I'm going to just go ahead and grab, Harvest Festival right now. So it's going to cost me a worker, but does guarantee me 3 points. So that gets recorded in this box here. So now it shows that I have the Harvest Festival. And I also am going to grab my Flying Doctor Service because I have already played the Doctor and the Postal Pigeon. Now, the Flying Doctor Service says that I get 3 points at the end of the game for every husband-wife pair in every city. Unfortunately, when you're playing against Rugwort, he doesn't play pairs like that. He doesn't play the same way I do. So basically, if I can play a husband and wife at some point during the game, and I think I probably have a good chance of doing that, I'll get an extra 3 points from the Flying Doctor Service. So I'm going to put a worker there, grab that card as well. So that's 3 potential points for me and 3 potential points that Rugwort will not get. All right, so that leaves me with no workers and 3 twigs. Like I said, I'm not playing very well. I guess I'm playing mostly for demonstration. I'm ready to go into August. This is going to be a pretty quick game unless I can make August last as long as possible. Hopefully I can. So let's, what did I say? Autumn. I'm going to have 6 workers, and I will activate all my production cards again. So I have 4, so I'll be able to activate those. So there's my 6 workers, and now I can activate these cards in any order I want. It's possible that I may want to activate 1 card before I activate another. I don't know that that's going to matter too much to me. I can go ahead and activate the Twig Barge, gain another 2 twigs, so that'll bring my twigs up to 5. So let's activate the Twig Barge. I'll activate the storehouse so I can play another set of resources onto it. So I will put, so right now it has a pebble and 2 resin. I will put, 2 berries? Yeah, 2 berries on it. So now it has 2 berries, 2 resin, and a pebble waiting for me to collect as soon as I put a worker on there. Now, my chip suite I can activate again. That allows me to activate another production card so I can activate my storehouse again by activating the chip suite. And I will activate the storehouse again using chip suite special ability. And I don't know what I want. I'm going to assume I don't need twigs. I'm just going to grab berries because I just probably want to play as many critters as I possibly can here. And Rugwort has achieved Grand Tour. Rugwort had 3 red cards to his name, and he automatically grabbed that at the end of the summer season. So now he's going to get an extra 3 points from that achievement as well. Now, I've got to make autumn last as long as possible, at least to have some sort of halfway decent showing in this game. Let's go ahead and collect all those resources from the storehouse. That's going to require a worker, and everything on that storehouse is now going to get added to my supply. So I've got 4 berries, a pebble, 2 resin, plus the 5 twigs that I had previously. So that's a lot to work with. And, I never got a benefit. Again, I didn't have any berries, so I wasn't able to get the benefit of the doctor earlier when it activated. So I'm getting 4 points from it, but that's about all. Not playing smart at all. All right, what's next? Need to play some high point cards. I can't afford the Evertree, although I could afford it if I played a worker on the inn that's owned by Rugwort. I get a 3 resource discount, and that allows me to play a critter for free. What do I have over here? I have a McGregor's Market worth 4 points. Huh. This is pretty costly. What does it give me? It gains me 2 of any resource. So it costs me 5 resources. I get 2. Oh, and I play it for free if I have the farm. So I guess I should play the farm first. And then play McGregor's Market. Is that right? That is in a red banner. I'm just zooming in here. Yeah, that's in the red banner. So I think that means that I get to play it for free, and it would replace my farm and act like a farm for all intents and purposes. So let's play the farm to my city. Okay. And the farm gained, and the farm, what does the farm get me? Farm, gained 1 berry, so I gained a berry. Oh, and my foresight is activating. Remember, my foresight activates, so I've been getting cards all along every time I've been playing a critter, and because the farm is a construction card, I get a resource of any type. So what do I want to grab? I guess I'm just going to grab a berry. I'm not going to put a lot of thought into this. I want to just keep this moving along. I'm just going to grab a berry. Might not be the smartest play. Now that I have the farm built, I can replace it with my McGregor's Market, which is over here. If I scroll, now I have another view. I guess I should go to that view, my big view, which can show me more cards and shows them bigger. So as you can see, I have my McGregor's Market over here. That's going to replace the farm, because there you can notice in the red banner, shows me the card that it replaces. It's also going to gain me 2 of any resource, and because it is a construction card, my foresight is also going to give me a free resource of any type as well. So let's go ahead and play McGregor's Market. It replaces the farm automatically. It's worth 4 points to me. And again, what do I want in the way of resources? Should I just grab berries again, or what else is out here that might be interesting to play? Well, I have a cemetery. Wasn't that one of the... Yeah. Although I don't see signs of a shepherd anywhere. The cemetery, when you place a worker here, reveal 4 cards from the draw pile or 4 cards from the discard pile, then play one of them for free. So it's sort of like a doubly nice benefit of that other card that I played. What was that? The postal pigeon that showed me 2 cards, and play one of them. And this one doesn't have a limit of number of points. Now the worker, because you're burying the worker in the cemetery, it's gone, so you can't play it again. But this is the last season, so it doesn't matter. So I think I will go ahead and play the cemetery. Well, I want to play the cemetery, so that means I'm going to grab some pebbles. So I'm going to grab a pair of pebbles from my McGregor's Market, and now my foresight's going to activate. What else might I want here, resource-wise? Oh, right, I want to get a husband-wife pair. A husband costs 3 berries. Is there a wife anywhere? I haven't. I saw a wife earlier. I don't remember what the wife costs. Let's find out. Well, the wife is a critter, so it's going to cost some number of, some number of berries. 2 berries for a wife. Well, I think I'm going to grab a resin because that if I want to get it, although I could just play to the rugworts in. So is a resin a waste? Again, I don't want to take up a lot of time here, but I don't see. I'm going to grab a berry. Okay, a lot of thinking for a very quick decision. Okay, so what I want to build the cemetery, right? So where's my cemetery? Let's get that out. Now that is a red destination card. Stick that over here. And again, it's a construction, so I'll just grab another berry. Yeah, I'm going to grab another berry. Okay. Now I could get the... Oh, there's a shepherd. I paid 3 to an opponent, but the rugwort doesn't collect resources, so I paid the 3. And that wants a chapel for free, to be able to play for free. Was the chapel another one card that I'm waiting for? Man, oh man. Maybe I'll place a worker on that inn. Can I get the Evertree? So it cost me 3 twigs. I'm going to need a 2 resin discount. Oh, I'm 1 resource short. Because if I play to the inn, I get a 3 resource discount. But I only have, I would need a 4 resource discount. So I need another something. And to get another something, I need to play a construction. So I can get, which is going to cost me resources. So I may not be able to, I do have a resin. Plenty of twigs. Maybe I should play my own minor mole, copy an opponent's city. If I played the minor mole, what would I copy? Draw 1 card for each other production, or gain 1 resource for every 2 other. So I could get a resource that way. That would allow me to get the Evertree, which is a nice 5-point card. And the minor mole costs 3, requires a mine to play for free. I have not seen a mine. All right, I'm going to play the minor mole. And now put it here. And now I copy a production card of rugworts. So I can copy the carnival, which would give me 1 of any resource for every 2 other green in his city. So I could get 1 resource of any type there. Oh, shoot. Oh, wait a second. Things have changed because I played the carnival. He grabbed the Evertree out of the meadow. There it is. He took it from me. Now that's interesting too. So my program has him play his card immediately after playing mine. But I wonder if he shouldn't play his card until after I've resolved my card play. Actually, it probably wouldn't have mattered. Although in this case, because he played immediately, and now I know that grabbing a resin isn't going to help me, because now there's no Evertree for me to build. So now I think I just want another berry. Shoot. Yeah, I'll just do the carnival. Well, I could get it out of the farm too. Doesn't really matter. But the carnival gives me a choice. So no, I'll take a resource of any type. So I don't think I can't use a resin now. The minor mole was worth 1 point. Kind of a waste of a card to end up just getting a berry. I can't believe he took the Evertree right from under me. but that's the way it goes. All right, I'm going to grab a berry. I get more cards thanks to the foresight card. Let's get the husband. I can play the husband for free because I own a farm. Now, I technically own a farm. I own McGregor's Market, but McGregor's Market acts like a farm. So I technically own a farm, and so I can play the husband for free. I just have to hope that a wife shows up at some point. I think there are 4 husbands and 4 wives in the deck. So I have a little bit of a shot of seeing a wife show up. Oh, there's a wife! I guess I should play the wife first. The wife is free for the farm, too. Okay, let's play the wife first so he can't steal it from me. I'll put it down here. Now, that's a prosperity card. Gets me more. Oh, I get a wood carver. What else did I get? A resin refiner. Well, I needed that earlier. But I got a wood carver. That helps me if I can also find it. And there's a chapel that just showed up. Oh, my God. Okay. So I got to play the husband, but I also have to grab the chapel. Now, the chapel is free. Oh, no, the chapel's a construction card. I can afford it because I do have the twigs, the resin, and the pebble. I am going to build the chapel. This is going to allow me, again, I'm going to build that shepherd. Oh, wait, the shepherd, he could steal the shepherd if I... Oh, man. But the chapel allows me to get a resource from foresight. Oh, man, I'm just going to play the chapel. It's worth 2 points. Costly. Oh, and he stole, there he goes. He just stole the shepherd. Damn it. How is that for luck? Oh, man. Wait, the chapel goes with wood carver, however, and I own the wood carver, and I can play it for free because I have the storehouse. Okay. So I think I just want another berry, don't I? I don't own any structures. Well, I have a resin refinery, but it's a little late for that. And the clock tower, I can't afford that. I'm going to just grab a berry at this point. That's what I need most of all. Okay. What to play first? There's nothing in the... So he's blocked all these cards at the top from me. There's nothing down here that I have a dire need to play. Okay, so now I'm going to play the husband to pair with my wife. They take up only 1 slot. So the husband's going to get paired with the wife. The wife will then score me 3 points because if she's paired with the husband. And I'm also going to get another 3 points for this flying doctor service event that I achieved earlier. Okay, so now the husband would normally be free because I own a farm. However, and I haven't pointed this little feature out, I got the wife for free. So because I owned a farm, and when you get to play a critter for free because you own its matching construction, you have to put an occupy token on the construction, which is this little brown token at the bottom of McGregor's Market, indicating I've already used it to get a free wife or a free husband, in this case a free wife. So I can't use it again. The only way I could get the husband for free is if I played another farm. There was another farm, but I wouldn't do that just to get the husband for free. The husband, well, it's going to cost me 3 berries. If I had played the husband first, then I would have saved a berry. But the trouble is the wife was in the meadow, and I was afraid that it would get stolen from me. So, yeah. So it's a cost of a berry. And I've got plenty of workers here yet. So I've got lots of things to do. Let's get the husband played. It's going to cost me 3 berries. Match it with the wife. And... oh, the husband gets me a resource of my choice? Yeah, if paired with a wife and you have at least 1 farm, basically McGregor's Market counts as a farm, then I get 1 of any resource, and I guess it's just going to be berries. I'm just going to get berries upon berries. I've got my 17 slots open here, thanks to having both of my legendary cards played. Okay, what's next? I was going to play that Town Crier. It's gone now. Shopkeeper, gain a berry after you place a critter. Well, I have lots of critters to place. It's free if I have a general store. I'm going to be placing lots of critters, but I only have so many spaces. I only have 6 spaces left, 6 slots left in my city. So I'm not going to get a lot of mileage. Man, oh man. Alright, I got to prioritize. Okay, let's get the woodcarver out. The woodcarver's free because I already own the storehouse. The woodcarver goes with the chapel, so then I'll get another event for free. The woodcarver's ability is you may pay up to 3 twigs to gain a point for each. I only have 1 twig. It might be worth my while to go to the 3 twig space just to grab some points. It's going to cost me a worker, but I got lots of workers. Might as well get some points out of the woodcarver when I play it. So now I'll play the woodcarver, and I can use up to a maximum of 3 twigs to get 3 points. So now I paid 3 twigs and I have 3 points. Okay. All right. And now I meet the requirements of the pristine chapel ceiling. Over here, now, how am I doing here? I only have 1 governance, 1 traveler, 1 prosperity. So not doing great on Everdell games. And here I need a cemetery, which I have, and I haven't used yet. And I haven't seen signs of another shepherd, so I may not get that. But let's use a worker to grab pristine chapel ceiling. Okay. 3 workers left. I've got to use them real carefully. So what do I have in my hand here? Let's go to the big view. Architect, Bard, Judge, Queen, Ranger. Move 1 of your deployed workers to a new location. Huh. So I get another worker use out of that. That might be useful. Wanderer is good because it doesn't take up a space in my city. But it's only worth 1 point, so in a normal game, it lets me draw 3 cards. In a normal game, it would be worthwhile. Here, because I play a Wanderer, the Rugwort's going to play a card worth 2 or 3 points, so I'm at a deficit. And those 3 cards I get from the Wanderer just don't benefit me, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be playing the Wanderer in this game. Palace I can't afford. Resident Refinery does me no good at this point. And I can play the Inn. Okay. Man, lots of choices. Not sure what to do first. I could play it to get to get 3 berries back. It cost me 2. I don't have a dungeon out, so I don't get it for free, but I get a net berry out of it. But it's only worth 1 point, and I don't really need. Well, I could use another traveler card if I'm going for. Yeah, maybe I should aim for those 9 points from that other special event. So I would have to get a Traveler, a Prosperity, and a Governance card out. Let's play the Ranger. Boy, I don't have a lot of slots here. This is not good. I may run out of slots. So let's relocate. Oh, I guess it has to be from this event. Okay, but I still have the event. I don't lose the event because I did play the worker there already. So yeah, I wanted to get 3 berries. Okay. Now what? I need a governance card and a prosperity card. No way can I afford the architect. Not much of a benefit. I'd like to wait for something better. The shopkeeper is a governance card. Cost me only 2 berries. Yeah, let's go ahead and grab the shopkeeper. I just need to hope that I can get a cheap prosperity card. Okay, a theater came out. Damn, too expensive. Oh, I could grab that king if it was only not blocked. I guess the architect wants a crane. That's going to cost me 4 berries and not get any. Only worth 2 points to me, but it's worth 9 points. And I might still get something better to show up. So I'm going to hold off on playing the architect. I'm going to wait for another prosperity which might show up, which might be a better choice. Wow. I've got 3 workers left. I could grab 2 more berries over here with a worker. I have to save a worker for the special event too. I really need to play a card so I can get another card to show up and hope that either a cheaper prosperity shows up here or down here in the meadow. What would be a good card to play? I already own the shopkeeper. It's a little late for the judge. Discard up to 5 cards. Yeah, I could afford to discard 5 cards. The bard is free if I have the theater. The theater's there, but I can't afford the theater. I could play another worker. No, he only had 1 in. I thought he had a second in. There's an in here. Oh man, this is a real juggling act. I think I'll just play the bard. It costs me 3 berries. You may discard up to 5 cards to gain 1 point each. You know, I could also just I could play a worker here to the journey space and discard 5 cards. That's effectively the same as the bard. I'd have to discard 5 cards to get 5 points, discard 5 cards to get 5 points. The advantage of playing the bard card is that I get to see 2 more cards show up in either the meadow possibly or on the border pile, and I'm hoping for that cheap prosperity to show up. I don't know if it's worth paying 3 berries. Gosh. I could play the Wanderer. It doesn't take up a space. It only costs 2 berries. Draw 3 cards, which I don't have room for in my hand, so that's useless right now. Maybe I should. I could also play to the Haven, where for every 2 cards I discard, I can gain a resource. I do have a lot of cards I could get rid of, but I really need points more than anything else. Jesus. Oh, man. I'm afraid to waste the worker. I could like to get a worker here. I could also play to the cemetery to get a cheap card. Play a worker there, reveal 4 from the deck, and play 1 for free. And hopefully I'll get a prosperity. I think it was a castle that I discarded way in the beginning of the game. There's only 4 cards in the discard pile. Two of them came from that screwed up postal pigeon. And one of them, I'm sure, was a palace or a castle, both of which are prosperity cards. And if I play a worker to the cemetery, I can reveal 4 from the deck or discard pile, play 1 for free. That's what I'm doing. Going to the cemetery, I'm going for 4 cards from the discard pile. There it is. There's the castle. Play it for free. Yes. Okay. Play it for free. It's worth 4 points by itself. It gives me 1 point for every common construction in my city. God only knows how many of those I have. My foresight's going to activate. I'm going to grab another berry. Can't have too few of those. Now I activate the Everdell games because I have at least 2 of every type. So I'm spending a worker there. That's 9 points for me, 3 fewer points for Rugwort. I can't get this card unless a shepherd shows up. I don't know if a shepherd's going to show up, but I'm definitely placing a worker there. I've got 1 worker left. I've got 5 berries. I've got 2 slots left. I've got to play this really carefully. But at the same time, I don't want to take up a lot of time. All right, what do we have here? There's a great... I mean, playing the queen would be nice if I could get a discount on it, because it is worth 4 points. It opens up a space, play a card worth up to 3 points for free. Huh. That would be worthwhile. But there's... Wait a second. Is that other... Wait a second. Is that other space on the cemetery? The cemetery opens up if the Undertaker's played, which I haven't played. I don't know that at this point I don't think the shepherd's going to show up. So I don't think I've already gotten the benefit of the wood. All those benefits I've gotten already. I don't think I'm going to get that 4th special achievement. And he doesn't have a... Wait a second. And it's allowing me to do that. For there, now I can play the queen for free. No, 3 fewer resources. So the queen will only cost me 2 berries. I'll only have 1 slot left of the queen. Did I select it? Oh, it has to be a meadow card. Oh, that changes things. Well, I could play I have a twig, 3 fewer resources. I can play Fairgrounds. I don't get much of a benefit out of it, but it is worth 3 points. Let's grab the Fairgrounds. My hand is full, so I'm not getting any benefit out of drawing cards. Oh, another foresight benefit. I'll grab another berry, even though I now only have 1 slot remaining. Now I'm down to the bottom of the barrel here. A university, 2 universities have shown up. It's a little late for my use of the university. Discard a critter construction from your city to gain resources. Huh. Equal to that card's... Gain the resources equal to that card's cost. Then gain 1 extra resource and 1 point. Oh, that requires a worker. So, and I'm out of workers. So I have used my last worker. So the university is of no value to me. So now with my remaining berries, I have to just play a high point card, which is the university. It's worth 3 points. I don't have anything better. I have the palace, but I can't afford it. I'm curious. Point. I have 1 slot, 6 berries. I just have to buy a card that's worth as much as possible. And that would be... Oh, I can play the queen in the last spot. And then play a card worth up to 3 points for free, which could be the would have to be a card. Let's just play the queen. Oh, Foresight lets you draw 2 cards after you play a critter, which I can't get. I have 7 cards in hand. I'll get 1 card out of it. Shopkeeper lets me gain a berry. Fine. Okay. So I have 2 berries left. Oh, the queen only benefits if I play a worker there. I'm out of workers. So I could use the 2 berries to play my Wanderer, but it's a net loss of 1 point. Am I right? It's worth 1 point to me. He plays a card that's worth at least 2. It doesn't pay for me to play the Wanderer. I don't need cards at this point. Oh, I can't. I don't have any workers left, so I can't play over here. Oh, but I have no workers, so I can't even go to the Haven. So I think I'm done. I filled up all my slots. If I had a ruins, I could use the ruins to destroy something. But there's no ruins to be played. Okay, I think I am done. Slots are filled. I have no cards that allow me to destroy anything in a slot. Not that I would necessarily want to, although it might pay to get one of the cheap cards out. But the only thing I need a ruins, a card like that, and there are no. There was a ruins earlier, but not now. I'm pretty much done. So now the question is, I pulled off 2. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, I pulled off 3 events, 3 special events and a basic event. I've never gotten 3 special events. I've usually gotten the 2. So I don't know. This is going to be a close score. I'm not sure. I've never won against Rugwort. This might be my first chance to pull it off. Anyway, let's end the game and see how it all worked out. Oh, he achieves 3 points from the cartographer. Oh, but I still pulled it off. 62 to 60. He grabbed 3 points at the last minute, grabbing the cartographer's event, which he had 3 tan cards in his hand. Boy, I could have grabbed Grand Tour, but he had grabbed it far earlier. So, but it doesn't matter. I won with a 2-point edge. I'm not sure I played especially well either, but I did play at the easy level, granted. Anyway, this is how endgame scoring works. You start with your in-game points. Remember, I got 3 points by paying those twigs earlier, so I had 3 points. Then you add up all the base value, all the numbers you see here in gold on all the cards in your city. Those all add up to 39, so that's 42 points so far. Then you get points from events. So I had Harvest Festival worth 3, Flying Doctor Service worth 3, Pristine Chapel. I had to have point tokens on my chapel, which you get those if you place workers there. I never did. 9 points for Everdell games. That's 15. So what's that? 42 and 15 is 57. And then I got 3 points for the wife because she was paired with the husband. So that's 60. And 2 points for the castle. The castle for 1 point for every common construction in my city. So I'm going to assume that's right. What would be a common construction? The fairgrounds, I think, is unique. Twig barge, maybe? Yep, twig barge is a common construction. And the storehouse is a common construction. Okay, so I needed, boy, what a squeaker. 62 points for me. Rugboard had one in-game point. Remember, I played to his in. Anyway, he only got 1 point for that. He had 38 non-purple cards. Those are 38 points from non-purple cards. He gets 2 points for every one of those, remember. So that's, he played 12, 17, 19 cards worth 38 points in total, 2 points per card. He gets 3 points for every purple card, another 9 points for, that's 48. He gets, for all the basic events he accomplished, he got 2 of those, Grand Tour, Cartographer's Expedition. So that's another 6 points. That's 54. And any special events that I didn't achieve, I only missed 1, so we got another 3 points from that. Brought him up to 57, and then he got 3 points because he puts one of his workers into the 3-point journey spot. Brought him up to 60. So 62 to 60, a real squeaker, which this game usually turns out to be. That's Everdell. And it is a great game. I love the card play. It's a real thinker. And hope you enjoyed this playthrough. I think the game's going to be officially released probably sometime either later this month or in October. I think it's a great game to pick up. There's a Kickstarter starting up in about a week for an expansion, another expansion. It's a real hot game right now, real hot property. I would... if you like this sort of card play, it's definitely one to grab. And it plays really well at 2, especially with this border variant that I never really took advantage of. I don't think I ever grabbed a card from the border pile. Otherwise, that's Everdell. Thank you for watching, everybody. Bye for now.